This is my room. I just realized I can like record videos from the comfort of my room because oh because there is essentially nobody in the room. It's not that I live alone, it's just that this guy over here he's in Saudi Arabia for the last 20 days of Ramadan, and that guy over there he's gone to Antalya. He left yesterday actually to his family for Eid, and that guy I don't know where he is, and this guy and so it's just at this point it's just us two guys we're living in the room, and it's kind of fun because it's a lot. Yeah. And this video is going to be about the interview preparation and basically all of the advice that I have to give. And I remember I made a video about like how you can get started with your interview prep, but I'm gonna like I want this video to be able to stand alone on its own, and so I'm just gonna tell some of that stuff again, some stuff on the top of that, and some stuff along with that. And so what I would like to say before I begin the video is like the advice you get regarding the interview is going to differ person to person because obviously it is an individual experience, and so I'm not a freaking expert on this. All right, I haven't given like thousands of Turkiye Burslari interviews. I just gave one. I did spend a lot of time preparing for it, and so this is the best advice I can give from my experience, which I think is awesome as well. Okay, it's unvaluable. And so the first thing that I would like to say, and maybe the most important thing, that is to know yourself. Now, this is the hardest thing regarding the interview because you have to basically know yourself. Why do you want to study what you want to study, and how do you answer something like that if you haven't like got a very strong story? And so you have to really look into yourself, know why you want to study what you want to study, know which factors like uh, directed you in this direction. And so you really need to be like very clear with yourself as to why you want to study this, because they're gonna ask you. This is like the one question that absolutely gonna ask you is, why do you want to study what you want to study? All right, for example, are you going to study mechatronic engineering? Why? Go ahead. And so that's literally what happened to me, and so I had to explain, and you're gonna have to explain as well. And so you should know. And the second thing that you should know is what you plan to do in the future. All right, after your studies, do you plan on coming back to your own country? Do you plan on staying in Turkey? Do you plan on what do you plan on doing? And what you can do to like where do you want to work, and not the location, but like what kind of work do you want to do? And what you can do to like ease this question for yourself is ask yourself, what problems do you want to help solve? That's like a very good question to like get a life direction as well. You can just ask yourself, what problems do you want to be able to solve in the future, and so you can like direct your life towards those solving those problems. And yeah, this is a philosophical page as well now. All right, so know yourself. Why do you want to study what you want to study? What are you going to do in the future? What are you doing now? So your hobbies and activities, it's always fun to mention that. I remember when they asked me like who is Amar. That's how they asked me to introduce myself. They didn't ask me like introduce yourself. They asked who is Amar, and so I basically gave him an introduction as to uh, what I'm studying, what I want to study, and what are my hobbies and activities. And so know yourself, guys. Number one. And the second most important thing is to know your application. If you mention any facts or figures in your application, first of all, start off with them. Okay, you need to know all of the facts and figures of your application. For example, if there's something you mentioned in your application, I mentioned like a memorandum of understanding Turkey made with some company, and so I mentioned that in my application, and I mentioned that in my interview as well. And so you really need to be clear as to what you wrote during your interview, particularly if you researched it on the spot just to write it in the essay, and which most of you are going to do, which you should do as well. And so you need to know all of that, and you need to be able to quote it on the spot. And you need to know that like the stuff around it as well. For example, some facts with or alongside it, you need to know them as well, which is going to be super helpful, by the way. It never hurts to like mention another fact or another figure just to show that you're actually interested in the subject, and you've been doing quality research on it as well, just because you're curious. Okay, that's the impression it makes, and so it's very useful. Remember that. And up to this point, this is all the advice that I've given in the other video as well, which was, you can find it, I think it's how you can get started with your Turkiye Burslari interview preparation. It's something like that. And I think I mentioned more or less stuff than this. If you want to like know more about this, then you can go watch the video as well, because up to this point, these two are the most important things for your interview. I believe these are the like, these are going to get you the, I mentioned the Pareto's principle as well, which is like 20% of the work you do gets you the 80% of the results you want. And so this is like the 20% you can know to get the 80% results you want. It's not like 20%, it's more like, it's more than 20, but you get the idea, right? And it's the hardest stuff to know, all right? Like why you want to study, why you want to study. It's like a deep question, okay? It's like, it's a difficult question to answer. And you want to be able to craft a really like realistic and clear answer as to why. And then you want to be able to tell some details about your major, for example. But what I would say is research, first of all, in direction of Turkey, and then in direction of the entire world as a whole. Now, what do I mean by that? That was a like a weird way to put it, but I'll tell you what I mean. By searching in direction of Turkey, I mean mechatronic engineering, for example. You need to know about it in your own country as well. So there's three things now: your own country, Turkey, and the world. What's left? Nothing. And so, for example, mechatronic engineering, you want to basically start off with mechatronic engineering in your own country as well. And you want to say like how much mechatronic engineering is like, or what you want to study in the future, which direction you want to go, how much it's like improving in your country, or anything, any fact, any figures, any statements, just to know that, just to show that you've been curious, you've been doing your research. And if you study like, want to study a major that you're actually curious about, you should know of this already. You should know all of this already. And so, but most of us are going to have to like do research on this. And so you should know, for example, I mentioned that electric rickshaws are like increasing in sales in Pakistan. And for those of you not from Pakistan, I don't know if you know what a rickshaw is, but Google it. It's RICKSHAW, rickshaw. It's not a food. It's not a food. But yeah, I mentioned that their sales, the electric rickshaws, their sales have been increasing like by this percentage. And so it's becoming more popular in Pakistan as well. And by the time I finish my degree, I want to be able to come back and be able to do this with electric cars as well, because electric cars are like not. Do you see electric car in Pakistan? I don't know if I don't. Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna say anything more about that. And yeah, so that was it. You need to know about facts about your own country, like with your department. You need to know about your own department in the direction of your own country. That's the first thing. And the thing, oh, it's getting hot in here. Never mind. And the second most important thing, the second one is in direction of Turkey. And you need to do like some research in direction of Turkey regarding your department. And the example that I'll give you from my research, like everything that I'm telling you is exactly what I did. How awesome is that? I don't think you can find any video on YouTube where like a selected person gives you like such in-depth detail as to what research he did and how he applied it to his own interview. So, and yeah, as I was saying, you're going to go in direction of Turkey. You want to do research in direction of Turkey. And what I did was that I researched what the most, which company sold the most electric vehicles in Turkey, and I knew the name of the company, and that's what they asked me in my interview as well. If you want to see, if you've seen my interview experience video, you'll see how much of an awesome moment that was during my interview. And I think that was probably the most important moment during my interview, where the interviewer asked me, he was like, okay, so which car company sells the most electric vehicles in Turkey? Do you know about that? And I said, I was like, this company, Toj. And he was like, they both started smiling because they were like, okay, I know. And it led to an epic moment where the interviewee, he then asked me like, do you know the design of the car? And I was like, honestly, I don't know. And then he showed me a picture from his phone, and he gave me his phone. He was like, okay, there were two cars. One of them was like a very stylish sports car, and one of them was like an SUV type. He was like, the SUV I own, and this is the stylish electric sports car that I like took on a test drive. And then both of the guys, they like started talking to each other in Turkish, and I was just like sitting over there. I was like, okay. And so that was very fun. So you need to do some research in direction of Turkey as well, and along with all of the facts you mentioned in your essay. And the third one is direction of the world. Yeah, in direction of the world. And so regarding your major, you need to know which countries are at the top of it. Okay, so for example, if you choose like any like medical field or related to engineering or something, you need to know which countries are on the top of the list for that. For example, Germany might be number one for some kind of engineerings, and for example, for medical or something, China might be the best. I don't have no idea, guys. I have no idea. And but I did do research about my own country, about my own department, and so I was like able to tell like, all right, these countries are the number one. And let me tell you something. There was a guy who gave an interview, and they asked him as to what he was going to study. I think international relations or some sort of like, I don't know what he was going to study, or business administration or something. And they asked him, they were like, which countries are the number one in this field that you want to study? And he said like this. And they said that, why don't you want to go and study over there? How do you answer that? Why don't you want to go study in like the number one places in the world? Now, I heard this and I created like, I think to me, it's a very, very good answer. They did not ask me this, but if I were him, I would have given like a very, very good answer about this. And the situation, and I'm gonna like equip you with it, okay? So don't worry. I'm gonna give you like, even what I couldn't tell during my interview, I'm gonna give you that advice as well. And so it's gonna be either one of two ways. Your department is gonna be the number one in Turkey, or it's not going to be number one in Turkey. For example, let's take mechatronic engineering. If mechatronic engineering was the number one in Turkey, I would say Turkey is number one in mechatronic engineering. That's why I want to study mechatronic engineering. Boom, that's it. As simple as that. But if it's not number one in Turkey, that's where it gets really, really tricky. Really tricky. And so what the answer that I crafted, like I heard the guy, I talked to him, and then he told me, or I heard it from someone, I think, and then he told me that, I was like, whoa, if they ask me, what am I going to reply? And so I created my answer on the spot, and it was that basically what I would have said was that even though Turkey is not like the number one country in the world, it is obviously growing in mechatronic engineering. And I had the facts and figures to support that as well. I knew them. And so what I would have said is like, if I went to like a top country for engineering, for example, if I go to Germany or the UK or the Canada or the US, I don't know, I think these are the top ones. I knew the exact facts, I knew them with the exact facts and figures during my interview time. And so if I went to them, the market would have been like really, really saturated. And for a beginner like me, it would have been very, very difficult to get some hands-on experience and to like make my place in the market, and to talk to people, or even to get some chances over there. I would have been competing in a very, very saturated market. But I don't want to like lose myself in a saturated market. I actually want to grow myself in an economy or in an environment which in itself is also growing, which I will find in Turkey. And so Turkey is growing. I want to grow myself, and I believe in a growing environment which is headed to be one of the best mechatronic, one of the best, which is going to become one of the best countries in this world. It's in that direction. I want to like be able to hop on it while it is headed in that direction, so I can make a place for myself. How awesome of an answer is that? I don't know what you think about this, but to me, this is actually a delicious answer. An awesome answer, okay? And so I'm equipping you with like the infinity stones, you know, with to like answer all of the questions, all right? And this is an awesome way to like answer those questions. Like I said, if the department is number one, you just say, boom, that's it. And then, all right, another thing that I researched a lot was stuff between me and my country. Oh, sorry, my country and between Turkey. And what do I mean by that? I researched when my president went to Turkey, and when Turkey's president came to my country. I knew the exact dates, and I knew the relation. I could like give a short paragraph about Pakistan's relationship with Turkey, like how they've developed over the years, how they've changed or something, and what they're coordinating on at this moment. For example, I read like some I was ChatGPTing most of this, but it was like citing sources that from this article or something, they're like coordinating about this and that and that, and their armies are working together as well. Because I heard this that there was this one guy. They asked him, what do like Pakistan's and Turkey's armies do together? Like, are they planning something together, or like do you know anything about if they're working together or not? And the thing is, I'm not gonna make a statement or anything, but they're not gonna go into such detail. What probably happened was that that student, either he was a master's and he studied bachelor's in international relations, or he wanted to study bachelor's in international relations. And so that's why they were asking him like these sort of questions related to his major. And so if an international student's relation if an international relations student applied the advice that I give you, for example, with examples of mechatronic engineering, you would obviously know that what's going on around the world, because you would do some research about your department in direction of the world. Exactly what I said, okay? And so that would have been very, very useful if you were studying international relations. But that's what probably happened. They're not going to ask an engineering student as to what the armies of two countries are coordinating on. I heard this and I was like, oh shit, what the heck am I going to do? But later after the interview, I realized that, oh, he probably must have been an international student, because they didn't ask me anything like this or anything even around this. Like, when did the president of Turkey visit the country of Pakistan, or when did your president visit our country? Do you know the dates? Nothing like that, don't worry. And yeah, that's basically all the advice that I had to give for the interview. Like I said, the first two things that I said, which was basically to know yourself and know your application, those are like the hardest things to prepare, but trust me, the results are worth it, because if you have a clear answer, clear and strong answer of like showing purpose, showing direction, then there, you can be a strong candidate, absolutely. And notice how I didn't give you like any stupid advice like learn some Turkish words. All right, maybe learning some Turkish words for an interview when you haven't even been selected. I don't know if you want to do that or anything. I didn't do it. I'll tell you, I didn't do it. When I entered, when the guy opened the door, I just said Assalamu alaikum, and he just started smiling. He was like, Wa alaikum assalam, because and then I gave my interview. You can absolutely learn some Turkish words, but what the hell, man? Okay, go ahead. And I didn't give you like weird advice like believe in yourself or be confident. I think I'll give that advice like one day before the interview or anything. But uh, confidence, it actually comes from competence. Okay, say that with me, say that with me. Confidence comes from competence. Okay, one more time. Confidence comes from competence. Okay, the more competent you are, the more able you're going to be to like give your interview strongly. The more you know, the more you prepare, the more able you are to give like good answers, and that have the answers, the more confident you're going to be during your interview. Okay, and so it's not like you have to change your mindset to be more confident. No, put the work in. Okay, prepare answers for questions, like do some thinking as to why are you choosing this major, what made you want to choose this major, what life events forced you, and yeah, I think that's it for this video. I really hope oh, it's 18 minutes almost. This is my room. I'm surprised my roommate hasn't walked in on me yet. Even if he did walk in, I wouldn't have stopped the video. I would have been like, come here, bro. Say hi to YouTube. Yeah. Oh, shit. I forgot one point. One point that I would like to say, I think I will edit this and put this in the middle of the video. But one point that I would say in like know your application part is to know your universities as well, as to why you chose a university that you want to study in. For example, you chose this university. You want to be able to tell that why you chose this university, why you chose this university, why you chose this university, why you think this one is better than that one. And there's going to be a certain trend in your universities as well, as to, for example, you've chosen all your universities in Istanbul, or all of them are in Ankara. Why have you done this? Or you're giving priority to universities in Istanbul. Why have you done this? You should know the answers for this. Now, I'll tell you, they did not ask me. The dude, he did ask me why I want to like move a certain university up a list, because that's what I tried to do during my interview. I tried to move. Oh, it's ridiculously hot in here. What the hell? Take my shirt off. I should open the window, but I'm like, I'm gonna drop my phone if I open the window, But where was I? Yeah, why you've chosen this university? He almost asked me. He did ask me, but then the other guy interrupted him, and then he started asking me something else. And so they're absolutely gonna ask you. Don't worry, they're gonna ask you. I think there's a huge chance they're gonna ask you why did you put this university at number one, or why do you want to study explain your list or something. But you should have answers for that, okay? And you want to be able, if you've chosen like a certain city or something, if they see that trend, they might just ask you, okay, for example, why do you want to study in Istanbul? And so you want to have good answers for that as well. I had answers for that as well, which was like Istanbul is like the business hub, or there are more international student opportunities, and I'll be able to live like a more vibrant life, for example. And I'm not only just going to study, I'm going to live a student life as well. And so obviously I'm trying to look for like the most colorful place or something like that. I would have absolutely would have said that. I think I did some more in-depth research, and my arguments for that were even better than these ones. But that's it. Yeah, and so this was for know your application bar, something I forgot. I'll probably put this in the middle of the video if I remember to edit it, and but I probably won't, or I probably won't. I probably will remember to do it, but I will not do it. Yeah, that's it for the video. Yeah, what else?